Hi, I'm Marcus.
And this is a parking lot with absolutely nothing meaningful being planned. That is, unless you count the development of 7 acres, 12 buildings, an art gallery, and a total redesign of the waterfront.
Jokes aside, this place has been a part of my yearly routine for as long as I can remember. Although I didn't grow up in Victoria, I've been coming here my entire life to visit family, and every October we made it a tradition to stop at the Valley Village nearby to hunt for Halloween costumes. We parked right here at this exact parking lot. As I've gotten older and started studying civil engineering, places like this suddenly feel different. They now represent sites where engineering, planning, and ecology can all intersect. The part of civil engineering that I'm most interested in is municipal infrastructure. Development of this size doesn't just add buildings, it adds people, roads, water systems, stormwater management, utilities, and environmental responsibilities. Since this redevelopment sits right on the upper harbor, the earth system that I've chosen to focus on is the hydrosphere. The water shapes the site physically and in terms of risk. Factors like sea level rise, shoreline stability, storm surge, contaminant pathways, and water treatment all become design priorities. But before design begins, we need long-term environmental data. For waterfront developments like this one, that means understanding tidal movements, extreme storms, and precipitation trends. One of the most important resources that we have is the Capital Region Coastal Flooding Inundation Mapping Project. Completed in 2021 by the Capital Regional District, this report outlines how sea level rise will affect the shoreline in the next 200 years. It's not just the sea level increase though, it's the amplified storm surge case scenarios. The sea level expands inland during high tides, and even more so during storm surge events. Under storm surge modeling, this exact area isn't just at risk, it's projected to be temporarily underwater. In the future, it's also expected that our cooler months will see an increased amount of precipitation. This map shows us how much the precipitation has increased over the past 100 years. We can see that besides the interior, Victoria has seen the second largest increase. Regionally, projections suggest that while annual precipitation might only modestly increase, the distribution will shift into wetter winters and falls and drier summers. This directly increases the risk of winter storm surges, serious erosion, higher winter runoff volumes, and flash flood events. Long-term observational datasets managed by PCIC provide historical and present precipitation pattern data. These include daily rainfall totals, seasonal averages, and extreme precipitation events, the type of data necessary to model runoff and flooding risks for coastal developments. This is where ecological design becomes essential, because the goal isn't just to build something new, but to build something that fits the ecological context of the site. There are several frameworks that we can use to help guide that approach. The 5 principles of ecological design tell us to design with nature. On a development like this, that could mean living shorelines, riparian buffers, and stormwater features that absorb rather than resist water. The Hanover principles reinforce long-term responsibility, more specifically creating safe long-term value. Instead of building only for the present, we design with the future environment in mind. Standing here at the shoreline, it becomes clear that the harbor is a living system. It has its own tides, species, and limits. Environmental empathy means recognizing that instead of only designing for human comfort and efficiency, we design with an awareness of how our choices affect the habitats and ecosystems already here. There's also a practical side. Climate resilient design costs more upfront, but is far cheaper than repairing constant flood damage or relocating people later. That's why regulations like municipal flood bylaws, shoreline regulations, and federal environmental constraints exist. It's to prevent that short-term thinking. Designing responsibly in a place like this requires a multidisciplinary team. Hydrologists, environmental engineers, climate scientists, and coastal specialists would analyze storm surge and sea level rise. Urban ecologists would support habitat restoration, while planners and policy experts ensure regulatory alignment. Finally, collaboration with Indigenous leaders and community stakeholders ensures the project respects both environmental and social needs. Because if we ignore the future will not ignore us.